Hey friends, I'm Jennifer LaGuardia, your life coach, always here with you to be your encouraging voice. So last week I had shared about a series I created based on my own life experiences to help you navigate the journey towards having healthy relationships that are aligned with who you are authentically, what you value, and where you're going in life. This video today centers around what I personally experienced as an amazing starting point. Self-awareness, being aware of what healing needs to happen within yourself, and being okay with being vulnerable. So you might have heard this scenario of a person who gets in an accident, rushed to the hospital, doctor takes care of whatever injuries happened as a result of the accident, proceeds to tell the person they're going to be okay from the injuries sustained from the accident. However, the doctor discovered something else while in surgery, something critically wrong. And had they not been rushed into the ER because of the initial accident, they would have had no idea that there was an even deeper issue way below the surface that would have eventually killed them. I'm convinced that sometimes the universe or higher power, I personally call God, will allow a situation to happen just to reveal what needs to be healed so that you can move forward and experience life with joy and purpose, growing into the best, most healthiest version of yourself every day, to include being in healthy relationships. Pouring your energy into people who are not aligned with who you are authentically and where you're moving forward in life can be completely miserable. So as I had shared with you in previous videos, I had a history of getting involved in toxic relationships. The end point of that horrific cycle I felt like I could never break out of happened after getting in completely over my head in a pretty dangerous situation with a highly volatile person I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to get away from safely. Backing up for a second, I had always been a deeply spiritual person, but my relationship with God took on a whole other meaning throughout that nightmare, and a series of life-changing breakthroughs happened for me after devoting a lot of time soul-searching and praying and meditating on these beautiful long walks. You cannot heal from something you're not aware of. So the first major breakthrough for me was realizing the root cause for how and why I was ending up in these toxic relationships. I realized I had been seriously codependent, living my life desperately trying to please other people at the expense of my own well-being. I neglected my own sense of value for so long, I lost myself. I had no idea how to love and value myself. My identity and sense of value was wrapped up in trying to fix and rescue other people. My self-worth was all about winning a person's love. And because of these negative patterns, I had been inviting into my life people I should have never gotten involved with. Being vulnerable, not one of my strengths. In fact, I had been so numb to all my own feelings and emotions for so long, I felt almost disconnected from myself. When I finally got out of that abusive relationship, the most challenging thing for me was being vulnerable and not knowing what to do with that. It was completely unnerving. But I knew that I had to allow myself to hang out with that vulnerability and work through all those feelings and emotions I was no longer numb to in order to fully heal from the brokenness, the codependency, and put an end to that vicious cycle of toxic relationships. My safe space for this to even be possible was through my time alone with God on these wonderful long walks, praying, meditating, soul-searching, and journaling. It was a lifeline for me, as well as researching at great length all about codependency and breaking that cycle. I've got to add right away that for anyone that might be in a situation right now, you might feel that you're completely over your head. Please know that going through counseling is a beautiful thing and it is tremendously helpful. So the most important starting point for healing and being able to attract healthy relationships into your life is to first realize what areas in your life need to be healed, and then allow yourself to be vulnerable and go through the journey to be fully healed. Being vulnerable might feel impossible. You might be thinking, yeah, that sounds great, but I don't even know how. Or it is too painful to allow myself to be that open and raw. I know, I've been there. As I was sharing a minute ago, for me, diving all into my spiritual life, having a relationship with a higher power, I call God, is what empowered me to be able to gradually open myself up completely and be vulnerable. In my time alone with God, out on those long walks with no distractions, layers of scars just came to the surface. And this love I can only describe to you as divine healed those scars and all the pain I had been carrying for years. And I felt this deep sense, this revelation that God's love really does not ride on human emotions or bad decisions, because no matter how broken I felt, no matter how many what was I thinking moments, God was not judging me. God had an incredible purpose out of all that pain and a plan for my life I would have never thought possible. And it was then that I realized that if I could accept the love of God, despite all my flaws and brokenness, if I could accept this radical, unconditional love, then I could fully love and value myself. And learning how to love and value myself was a monumental breakthrough for being able to attract healthy, loving relationships and block anything that is not. The other critical piece to this is listening to the voice of your intuition, which I believe to be the voice of God in your heart, lovingly guiding you. I've made it a personal practice every day to try and be super in tune with my intuition and not second guess it, even if it doesn't make sense. Because God is always moving on your behalf for your greater good, even if it doesn't look like it on the surface. It will save you from a lot of grief and wrong detours. I am so very thrilled to share more in depth about intuition later on, along with the wonderful journey discovering your true, authentic self. It isn't until you know who you truly are authentically can you possibly know what makes you happy and fulfilled, and how to align yourself with relationships that resonate with who you are authentically and where you need to be going in life moving forward. Happy to share all about that next video. Friends, it is so worth it to take the time to heal from all the layers of hurt and brokenness, so that you don't carry this into another relationship, and so that you are able to fully recognize and receive into your life relationships that are right for you. Practice being vulnerable. Allowing yourself to be open and real is the gateway for this kind of healing to happen. And it's like a superpower for creating deep, meaningful connections with the right people. I love you guys so, so much. And with all my heart, I pray over you all that whatever your deepest pain and your greatest struggle might be, that you would know there is a magnificent purpose evolving out of what you might think is impossible, and that you would experience the radical, unconditional love of God in such a deeply meaningful, deeply personal way to you. It heals all your brokenness and all your pain, and you could know and love the beautiful masterpiece you are. Don't give up hope. As always, I hope to be an encouraging voice along your journey, so please follow me on Instagram, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, or subscribe to my podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Awakening Hope with Jennifer LaGuardia. God infinitely bless you all and all those you hold close to your heart.